lady in white appeared.
Welcome to Paranormal Nightshift, your home for all things that go bump in the dark and your fan stories told here. Today's story comes from Harrisburg, North Carolina, and is called The Screaming Lady. Ryan writes in, I kind of grew up like a lot of kids down here. We went to church, Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, Venture Scouts. Everything we did kind of was with the church. We played baseball, soccer, all that stuff. But it's a really kind of small church. We all knew each other. The older kids would tell us the story of the Screaming Lady. See, the church had a preschool attached to it from like a carport, basically, a walkway. It was illuminated and lit up, but at night you could see directly into the hallway, and it was kind of creepy. Just everything was very dark in the hallway, and you couldn't get into it, but it was just creepy. And the ghost story was, don't look in that window at night, you'll see the Screaming Lady. But we had to pass it to go everywhere. That door was where we go to get into the gym, where we would go to get into the Cub Scout office. You had to pass the door, and nobody wanted to ever look at it. You'd see even the older kids covering their face when they pass the door, because if she sees you, she'll scream at you. Nobody knows how these silly ghost stories and superstitions start, but it's the story that they told me when I was a kid. And it's the story that I got told and that I've told the younger kids. And now I'm a dad who has kids that are involved in this Cub Scout troop. And I told them the same story. Fellowship Hall is kind of our meeting place. Everybody goes into the Fellowship Hall, and then the Scouts go one way, baseball goes the other way, but everything is met in the Fellowship Hall. And of course, that's the door that leads into the preschool where the Screaming Lady lives. We were on our way back from a camping trip. Boy Scouts has a thing called the Out Island Adventure. It's really cool. You actually go down to Key West, Florida, and basically live like Survivor forever. But we all came back, and we got held up in traffic in Atlanta, and what should have had us back by 10 o'clock, no, it was like 2 in the morning. A lot of the parents said, hey, can't the kids just sleep there and we'll pick them up in the morning? And I thought it was a great idea. So we just rolled out sleeping bags in the Fellowship Hall. We had about 14, 15 Boy Scouts and a couple adults, but everybody was exhausted. So sleeping bags were rolled out and everybody was sleeping in the Fellowship Hall. And that's when I started seeing it. The light on the breezeway, the same light that I've known my entire life. The same story started running through my head of the Screaming Lady. Don't look in the window. Don't look in the window. Call it exhaustion or curiosity, but I actually had the keys this time. I was a grown-up. I could go in there if I wanted to go in there, so I did. Open the doors just to walk around. I was a grown-up, you know? I didn't believe in these ghost stories anymore. I was gonna prove myself wrong, because, you know, why not? Walked around into the preschool, opening the door, and that's when I saw her. The Screaming Lady was there. She came down the hallway, screaming as loud as she could at me, this white floating figure. It was real. It was actually chasing me down. This white floating figure with fangs screaming at me down the hallway. Get out! I freaked out and I ran into the Fellowship Hall. I'm the adult here. I'm supposed to keep these kids safe. What am I doing? I stayed up the rest of the night, just looking, just sitting in a chair right next to the door to make sure, I guess, these kids were safe, that she wasn't going to come through. I was exhausted. I sat there all night just making sure that nobody went into the preschool. The next morning, a lot of the parents came and picked up the kids pretty early, and our preacher, our scoutmaster, a man that I had known my entire life, came to me. Said, you hadn't slept. You look like garbage. What's wrong, man? I saw her. I went into the preschool last night. She's real. I know she's real. I've been telling you that your whole life. But it's real. I know. We all know. I've been telling you your whole life it's real. Why wouldn't you believe us? What is it? Can you explain it? No. Nobody can explain it. You just follow the rules and don't go in there. Legends have to start somewhere. They don't have to have a story. They don't have to have an explanation. But the more we talk about them, the more energy we give them. There was a reason that grown-ups were covering their faces when they passed that door. It's because they knew she was real. I tell my kids the same thing. Just don't go in there. Man, I love this story because we had something like that growing up too. Tell me your small town legends. Tell me your stories that everybody told you were real and that you just followed the rules, like holding your breath past the cemetery. Tell me all those stories, and thanks for watching Paranormal Night Shift.